Welcome back to Rarest Photos. We're back to reading. Got the Elvis, Linda, and me to do some reading. Where we ended off reading this, Elvis had brought Jeannie, or Jeanne. I think it's Jeannie. Jeanne. Could be Jeanne too. Guess I should figure that out. But it looks like Jeannie LeMay Dumas is what her name is. I had brought her on tour so she could spend some time with Linda and Elvis. And he was very gracious, bought her a ring, and took pictures with her, allowed her to take pictures of Elvis and Linda, and was just all around just very, very gracious, as we know Elvis to be, right? By the way, thank you to all of you that have been watching these videos and going back and watching the old ones. I know I'm still kind of sick a little bit. I'm not fully well, but I'm feeling well enough to sit down here and read. And because it takes energy, to read. I don't want to whine about it, but you know what I'm saying. When you're sick, gosh, you don't want to do anything. And of course, I'm still been working through all this as well with my job. But we're on the upstairs at Graceland. All right. Linda had someone pick me up at the airport and drive me to Graceland. It felt so good driving through those gates again and seeing those familiar mansions at the top of the hill. Linda rushed out to meet me as we pulled up to the front of the house, and we hugged and carried on as if we'd been apart for years. As soon as we saw each other, it was as if the few months we'd been apart had not even taken place. It was another dream come true for me. So essentially, Linda asked her to come out because the last chapter ended. Jeannie, Elvis is going out to California to finalize his divorce with Priscilla in October. I was thinking, why don't you come down to Memphis and stay with me while he's gone? I really miss seeing you, and we could catch up on old times. So what do you say? So that's what leads into this chapter. I missed Elvis not being at the mansion. He had left for California by the time I'd arrived. But it was so good to be back again with Linda. I couldn't believe I was actually going to be staying at Graceland. It was such an incredible experience. I had only been in the downstairs area before this trip, and my heart was racing as Linda nonchalantly escorted me up that magnificent stairway and into Elvis's private world. Nobody will ever believe this, I kept repeating to myself. Linda led me through what looked to be an office and then into their bedroom, where someone had already delivered my suitcase. It was sitting next to a large console TV across from the foot of the bed. Now, it was between two front bedroom windows as well. I don't know what I had expected, but the large bedroom was quite different from any bedroom I'd ever been in. See, the carpet was deep blood red color. There was a massive oversized bed, which Linda told me was from a custom-made 9-foot by 9-foot model. So 9 foot by 9 foot as a bed. That is very big. That's bigger than a California king. Wow. Okay. Dominating the center of the room with a TV across the floor from the foot of it. The bed was made up with a gold bedspread, and the drapes were like a red velvet-like material with gold-trimmed tassels and tiebacks. The walls and the ceiling were tufted with what looked like dark naugahyde, and there were lamps hanging down over both nightstands on either side of the bed. So lamps hanging down over the nightstands. Red scalloped valances with gold trim hung from the ceiling. I don't know what that is. Red scalloped valances. Valances with gold trim hung from the ceiling on all four walls across the entire room. The far corner of the room had a round, brownish gold, furry-looking chair, which also had a hanging lamp above it. A table with a console monitor sitting on it was against the right wall as you first walked into the room. Then, I was to learn, was where Elvis would keep a keen eye on everything going on in and around Graceland by way of closed-circuit TV system. On the opposite wall was a huge bookcase-type armoire with doors. A ceramic tiger sat on top of the TV, and a Jesus statue stood next to the chair in the corner. I stood there looking around, probably with my mouth hanging open, when Linda said, "Look over the bed." I did, and I saw two TVs mounted flush to the ceiling. We can watch TV while we lay in bed and don't have to worry about getting a crick in our neck, she laughed. To say the least, it was a unique experience for me to be standing in Elvis Presley's bedroom. What do you want me to sleep? I asked. Well, the bed is huge. You're welcome to just to sleep in here with me, she said. That way we can talk all night if you want to. I can't wait to get caught up on everything that's been going on with you. Now, and so I moved into Elvis's suite with Linda. We had a ball for the next week. I had never experienced that kind of lifestyle. Linda, of course, was used to it by now, but it took several days for me to get adjusted to her schedule. Now, being with Elvis all the time, she'd grown accustomed to what she joked as the Elvis Standard Time. Gonna have to write a song called Elvis Standard Time. I already have a song I wrote called Loving You Standard Time. So I don't know, I may not write a song. Yeah, but it's pretty cool, right? Elvis Standard Time. I'll probably just have to do it, even though I've got a song called Loving You Standard Time. I can't sing right now, but it's like, Loving You Standard Time. Get like that. It's a kind of a mid-tempo song, country song. Okay, so let's see here. I lost my place talking about stuff. Elvis is sweet with Linda. There it is. Meaning staying up most of the night and sleeping late into the next day. Since I didn't have to worry about getting up and going to work, I remember thinking that I could easily get used to that kind of schedule myself. It was a fantasy life. We could wake up whenever we felt like it or pick up the phone next to the bed and order anything we wanted from the kitchen downstairs. Then, after leisurely getting up and getting ready, we could go out and do anything we wanted to do. I could never bring myself to pick up the phone and order food. Linda, on the other hand, had gotten used to it, and she would order sumptuous breakfasts that would be brought up to the room, just like room service in a fancy hotel. Now, we always teased about breakfast in bed, but in reality, I never saw her eat a meal in bed. She always ate at the dressing room table in her bathroom. I, on the other hand, would just go down to the kitchen and fix myself a bowl of cereal or eat a banana. I guess I was just doing what I was used to doing at home. I did, however, enjoy having fun on one of the phones, but in a different way. See, I slept on the side of the bed that Linda normally slept on when Elvis was at home. It was the side nearest the outside wall. There was a gold phone on the nightstand, one that Linda told me had been installed for Priscilla to use when she lived there. It was just a single private line, and I had so much fun picking it up and acting like I was answering an incoming call, saying something like, Elvis's private bedroom, this is Jeannie LeMay, may I help you? I look back on my time there that week, and it's like the two of us were together at camp. We had the most fun doing mundane things around the house. See, we turned the most simplest things into an adventure, and it brought out the playfulness in each of us. I never laughed so hard in my life over the silliest things. I remember one night, Linda and one of the cooks convinced me to try fried okra, which I'd never eaten before. We were up in the bedroom, sitting in the middle of the bed, and I took a spoonful of them, put them cautiously in my mouth, and began slowly chewing. I'd never tasted anything like them before. I looked over at Linda and, seeing an agonized look of anticipation on her face, burst into laughter, almost spitting them in her face. One of them, however, was too far down my throat, almost choked me, and caused me to laugh even harder. Are you okay? She screamed. Well, once she saw I was, she almost died laughing. It seemed like everything made us laugh like a couple schoolgirls. Everything we did was fun. One of the best parts about being there was always being Linda's guest when we went out. She carried one of Elvis's credit cards, which had no limit on it, and she could use it for whatever she wanted. There were absolutely no restrictions. Well, we went shopping just about every day, and usually would eat out at a restaurant for lunch. We went several times a day to a very good Italian restaurant directly across the street from Graceland, in what is now known as one of the gift shops. And now, not gift shops anymore. It's not that U-shaped gift shop area. Now if you haven't been there in a decade or so, it's just absolutely amazing. You got to go to Graceland because the Graceland tour includes access to all of the all of the buildings. There's a ton of buildings. And I'm not talking small buildings. I'm talking, it takes you 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to get through each of them. And even longer if you want to spend more time taking a look at stuff. I know the ticket prices are up. And I think that the prices are the price. I don't think that you can just go to the Graceland mansion and get a cheaper price. It includes the buildings and all of Elvis's army stuff, all of his cars, his motorcycles. It's a great place, and I hope you'll make it there. Okay, let's see. We went shopping every day. Okay, so we went we went several times to a very good Italian restaurant directly across the street from Graceland. So that used to be there. I wonder if that's one of the places Elvis used to eat at a lot. We also went to Denny's down the street, one of my favorite places. I love Denny's. I used to go into Denny's and get, no joke, and I'll still, when I go to Denny's, I get 4 or 5 bowls of mashed potatoes and 4 or 5 bowls of dark brown gravy. Just love it. I used to do that all the time, 5 or 6 of them, and that's what I would eat. And of course, back when I used to do it, because there was a lot of Denny's back in the day, it was like $1 a bowl. So $6, you get 6 big old, well, smaller bowls of mashed potatoes and gravy. And that was tasty. I love dark brown gravy. Okay, there was no shortage of good restaurants in Memphis. Linda told me it was a treat for her to be able to go out and eat like a regular person for a change, without having to worry about having bodyguards around or being mobbed. Now, although we occasionally run into someone that she knew, once in a while she saw someone point at her and whisper, and we were able to go about town without too many hassles. Now, by the time we would get back to Graceland, it would be supper time, and we would enjoy a nice leisurely meal with Grandma and Aunt Delta, or whoever else happened to be there. It felt good not to be under any time constraints and not having to worry about anything. You know, we don't hear tons about Grandma and Aunt Delta. We heard that Aunt Delta could be very prickly, and I believe that's what I've heard. And Dodger, of course, was Dodger. But we haven't really heard a ton. It's funny how they lived there for all those years with Elvis. And they're in some pictures. There's some pictures, but not ultimately, just not as well known. Probably because that's how they wanted it to be, probably a private Southern women. All right, so however, it was not so easy getting acclimated to Linda's sleeping pattern. She was used to staying up half the night, while I was still on a normal sleep schedule, and I found myself yawning about the time she was just getting wound up. Sounds like my teenage son. He always busts through the door about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night when his mom's about to sleep or wanting to go to sleep, and that's when he wants to talk the most, It's funny. It's funny, the other day I think I said something like, oh, Tucker's just like Elvis. What was it? Oh, sometimes he stays in his room for like 2 days. So, anyhow. So we usually ended up sitting on the green couch in the first floor den, watching TV late into the evening. See, I could make it until about 1 or 2 a.m. and then I was gone. I would be awakened by Linda several hours later as she was heading to the bedroom. "Come on, sleepyhead, it's time to move upstairs," she'd say, and she roused me from the couch and coaxed me up to the bedroom. Through groggy eyes, I'd see 3 or 4 a.m. staring at me on the wall clock as I staggered by. How does she do this? I mumbled to myself. Now, one thing that always intrigued me was the fact that so many lights were kept on upstairs throughout the night. It seemed like they were never turned off. The lights were always on in the upstairs hallway, Linda's bathroom, and the office. It didn't matter what time of day it was, they were always on. Wouldn't they just save a ton of electricity if they turned these lights off at night? I asked Linda one time. Well, probably so, but they've always just been left on, and that's the way Elvis wants it, she replied. And we know probably why. First off, we don't want nobody tripping and falling. Walking on carpet, it's not the same thing as walking on tile floors like we have. It's very easy to get your slippers or your shoes or your toes stuck in some big shag carpet and go falling. That's probably why. Keep the lights on and keep yourself safe. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's about being poor and knowing that he could afford to have the lights on. Maybe it's a security thing too. I don't know. Very interestingly enough, there was a story about Linda. Elvis asked Linda to go make me breakfast, and she went down and made breakfast, and she came up with a normal portion. You know, a couple pieces of bacon, a couple eggs, maybe some toast, I don't know. And he was like, what's this? I need more than that. And so she went down and cooked him like a pound of bacon, a dozen eggs, something like that. And he still only ate 3 or 4, but he wanted to know that he could, for the security of it, and probably to have it to munch on later. We would go into the bedroom, close the double doors, leading in from the office, and turn the lamps off before going to sleep. Like the other lights outside the bedroom, the neon lights around the ceiling were always left on. It was kind of like having a very soft, pleasing nightlight on all night. And I remember thinking how cozy it was to fall asleep with them on, snuggled under a heavy blanket in Elvis's bedroom. Linda's bathroom was on the other side of the office. To get to it, you had to go through the double doors, walk across the office, and go through a door and turn left into the actual bathroom itself. So here's the interesting thing. Yeah, we've got a few pictures of the upstairs from Jeannie LeMay. We have the movie, I think it was called This Is Elvis, that Colonel Parker was the executive producer on, and he and Priscilla allowed Graceland and the bathroom at Graceland to be filmed. And then when they found it, people found out later and raised a big fuss about it. They tried to say it wasn't filmed at Graceland, but trust me, it was filmed at Graceland. Elvis's bed in the leisure. I'm just trying to find something for y'all. Maybe it's not in that section. Maybe it's back here. I feel like the picture. We know that the pictures of Elvis's bedroom came from Jeannie LeMay. Just the photos, not the video. Just trying to find it real quick for y'all. Maybe they're not even in this book. Maybe they're actually as a dining room. Huh. It's a pretty cool picture anyways. I'll show you that. That's the dining room there, when it had the curtains across it. At one point in time, I know that there were glass doors separating the dining room from the sitting area, the living room. Boy, I was so red. Hey, have y'all heard anything about, well, here it is. Elvis's bed. Have y'all heard anything about them redecorating Graceland back to the original red? I thought I heard something about that recently. Let's see here. Okay, so we are going back to, oh boy, here I am, losing my place again. This is nice, 1983. Here's a picture from 83 of Jeannie and Linda. They look very, very, very happy to be together. And then Malibu in 2002. So I think somebody asked if they still knew each other. I don't know whether she's still living. I haven't looked that up yet. And I will at some point in time. But yeah. Okay, let's get back to the reading, okay? I'm enjoying this. I missed doing this with y'all. Okay, got up to the bedroom, night lights. Okay, next day, come a long way, baby. Okay. Linda's bathroom was on the other side of the office. To get to it, you had to go through the double doors, walk across the office, and go through a door and turn left into the actual bathroom itself. It was the one that Linda always used. She told me to use it even though Elvis's bathroom was closer. One night, nature called. Feeling too sleepy to make the trek all the way to Linda's bathroom, I decided instead to take advantage of Elvis's bathroom several steps away. I walked a few feet down the short hallway, opened the door to his bathroom, and went in. Closed the door behind me. A night light softly illuminated the room. Turning the light on, I proceeded to sit down on the toilet when all of a sudden the thought struck me. I'm sitting on Elvis Presley's toilet. Who in the world would ever believe it? I laughed to myself as I thought, you've come a long way, baby. I gotta stop and talk about that. I don't understand this. For some reason, in my brain, in my mind as an Elvis fan, I always think Elvis's bed and bathroom. But the truth of the matter is that's not how it is. Because what she just said right there gives us an idea, of course, of the last night of Elvis's life a little bit. I decided instead to take advantage of Elvis's bathroom. I walked a few feet down a short hallway. So she left the bed, goes down a hallway, opened the door to his bathroom, and closed the door behind me. So I probably needed, I know there's a layout of Elvis's room up there, the original plans, whatever. I just can't picture it. I can't picture this hallway. Because I think, you walk up the stairs to Graceland, you go around the corner, walk up more stairs, and then I think, Lisa's room's off to the left, I think, and Elvis's room, I think, we're through some double doors, like double padded doors, I think, or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of thrown me for a little bit of a loop. The next day we had breakfast and went on to do some shopping. Linda took me to one of her favorite jewelry stores and we browsed around for a little bit while before a beautiful multicolored ring caught her eye. The price tag on it revealed a several $1,000 price tag, and Linda seemed like she was interested in it, but then changed her mind. What would it be like, I thought to myself, to be able to buy practically anything I wanted without giving it a second thought? Well, we returned to Graceland to freshen up, and we were getting ready to go out and find some place for lunch when I happened to see my camera sitting on a chair in the bedroom. Linda was putting the finishing touches on her makeup, and I yelled to her, Linda, do you think it'd be okay if I took some pictures of the house to show my family? They'd get a real kick out of seeing where Elvis lives. And I know that they'd love to see him. Sure, I don't see a problem with that at all, Linda replied. Go ahead and take whatever pictures you like. I'm sure Elvis wouldn't mind since it's you. The since it's you part made me suddenly feel very special and privileged, for which I felt appreciative. So with Linda standing next to me, or standing beside me, acting as my director, I aimed my camera and took one picture, and then, feeling more at ease, two more of Elvis's bedroom from different angles. Next, we went walking into the adjoining office, and I took a picture there as well. It had the same red carpeting on the floor, and a wall of red drapes across the back of the room above a built-in wall-to-wall couch. The desk had a TV and radio built into the top of it, and it faced a piano with a gun rack above it on the opposite wall. A trophy case sat on the floor next to the door leading into Linda's bathroom, and it contained a number of trophies that Linda had collected over the years in her various beauty contests. Now, satisfied that I'd taken some good pictures, we left the mansion and went to lunch. That night, we decided to have an old-fashioned slumber party. At the last minute, we rounded up two of Linda's cousins, Lori and Janet, who were very good sports, to come over and spend the night with us. We had a blast. We told stories, played with makeup, and did all the usual things girls do at those events. I remember one of the treats that night was eating supper in the dining room. Usually we, like everyone else when Elvis was away, ate all of our meals sitting at the counter in the kitchen. But this particular night we decided to do it upright and eat in the dining room. Lottie, the cook, fixed us a fabulous fried chicken dinner that night. Linda sat in Elvis's chair with Janet to her right and me to her left and Lori next to me. We sat there well into the evening telling stories that seemed to grow more outrageous as the night went on. Finally, I think sometime past midnight, we retired to the upstairs bedroom. Linda, Lori, and I slept in the large bed, and Janet ended up on the makeshift mattress made from sheets and blankets on the floor at the foot of the bed. A 9x9 bed. Come on, girls. Probably could have got all four of y'all in there, but Janet probably wanted to sleep on the floor. I also found out later when I got the film and my camera developed that Linda had secretly taken a picture of me asleep in Elvis's bed that night with rollers in my hair. That's the picture that I showed y'all maybe about 5 minutes ago. That's funny. Now I got to go back and take a look at it, because I really, what I did was I there it is. It was more about showing y'all. How funny. So I'm going to see if I can see those other pictures. There's a bathroom. There's a lot of great stuff here. You know, the next chapter, we're not done with this chapter yet, but the next chapter we're going to be reading is called Christmas with Elvis. All right, so I seem to have a slight smile on my face, so I must have been dreaming of something nice. You can see part of Lori's arm near my head. But typical of the mischievous way Linda could be, she didn't tell me about it the next day, allowing me instead to find out about it only when I eventually got the film developed several days later. That picture of me asleep in bed got sandwiched in between the pictures I'd taken of the bedroom and office, and a picture I took the next day that would end up in the national magazine several years later. I took it without giving it much thought. Well, I happened to be walking by the short hallway leading to Elvis's bathroom, and I said to myself, I'll bet my family would get a kick out of seeing Elvis's bathroom. I just showed you all that. So I picked up the camera, stood in the doorway leading into his bathroom, and snapped the picture. I got the weirdest sensation as I stood there and took that picture. I realized that my hands were almost trembling, and I didn't know why. I think part of it was that I still didn't feel completely comfortable taking pictures of Elvis's home, especially the private upstairs area. Linda had given me complete permission to do whatever I wanted to do, but I still felt a little apprehensive about it. I had thought about taking a second shot in the bathroom and then walking into his dressing area and getting a picture of that room, but because of the unexplained uneasiness, I didn't. Little did I realize at the time that I was taking a picture of the very spot where Elvis would breathe his last breath several years later. I still get chills thinking about it. One of my most pleasant memories, however, was going in to use his bathroom and looking out the window, and I noticed his horses grazing on the grounds. Watching them and that wonderful view was a sight to behold. Next time I go to Graceland, I'm going to really try to get myself not so turned around. So outside of his bathroom window, you could see the horses grazing. So his bathroom must have been towards the back of the house. Yeah, I'm so confused. And I guess I guess most of us Elvis fans don't really have a complete picture, because it's not like we've been there. I mean, the closest we have to being there are these pictures that Jeanne and LeMay took. And of course, the This Is Elvis movie, where they did all the shooting there, or a lot of the shooting there. But yeah, you know, do yourself a favor and pick up this book if you can. I think I'm almost positive I got this on eBay. I might have had to order it from one of those book places online as well. But get the pictures for yourself. Take a look at this book. This is a great book, and it's a good read. It's pretty entertaining. All right. So, but yeah, the picture of the bathroom there, that's the only picture that exists besides the video that they made from the This Is Elvis. Take a look at that again. And maybe that's one of those things where Elvis kind of centered it, maybe considered it as his inner sanctum. Maybe that's why Linda had told Jeannie not to use Elvis's bathroom, but to use hers. And maybe that's when she was taking the picture. Maybe she remembered that in her mind, I probably shouldn't be doing this. Somebody had mentioned something about thinking that maybe there was a picture like Elvis in a reflection in the bathroom, but it wouldn't be, because he wasn't there when she took these pictures. All right, let's continue reading here. to get back to where I was. All right. Upstairs at Graceland. Weirdest feeling. Okay. One of my most pleasant memories, however, was going in to use his bathroom and looking out the window. I noticed his horses grazing on the grounds. Watching them and the wonderful view was a sight to behold. One day, Linda decided that we needed to take a mini vacation. She had told me about how much she'd always wanted to go to Acapulco, and she tried to book a stay there for us. For whatever reason, all the best hotels were booked solid, and she ended up getting us a place in San Juan, Puerto Rico, our original stomping grounds from the beauty pageant in 1972. Elvis was somewhere away, and we were planning on just the two of us going. We were sitting there in the kitchen at Graceland, making plans for the trip when Vernon's wife, Dee, walked in. "What are you talking about? You two talking about?" she asked. "Well, Linda and I are going to spend a few days in San Juan," I explained. "San Juan?" she exclaimed. "Why, I'd love to go with you. It'll be a lot of fun. You two don't mind if I tag along, do you?" Linda looked at me and I looked at her, and there was not much we could say other than, "Sure, we'd love to have you." So the three of us left a day or so later and flew to San Juan. For the first couple of nights, we all shared a hotel room on the 20th floor of the Caribbean Hilton. It had a wonderful, spectacular view of the ocean, and we really did end up having a great time. We ate at some wonderful restaurants and soaked up the sun and saw the sights. We spent some of the time with Dee and also just got away, the two of us, a few times. I remember the hotel lobby having a spectacular indoor garden and fountain. It was breathtaking, and Vernon ended up flying down and staying with us the last few days we were there. He and Dee moved into a separate suite, leaving Linda and me the room to ourselves. I wonder, I'm speculating here. Does it seem kind of odd that Dee invited herself along? And then Vernon flies down a couple days later. Maybe something I'll have to ask Billy. 1973, he would have been 13 years older than Sam. So he'd have been about 20-ish, 20 to 22. He might not recollect it or know about it, but here is Linda and Jeannie and Dee and Vernon, in Puerto Rico, out of the country, where Elvis never went except for the military in Canada, which Canada didn't count to me. All right. He and Dee moved into a separate suite, leaving Linda and me the room to ourselves. One night we met a comedian named Gabe Kaplan. This was before Welcome Back Kotter. And while I said he looked familiar, he said he'd only been on the Tonight Show a couple times. We all went to dinner and took some pictures, and I remember telling him the origin of hush puppies, which is the food they serve down south. Someone in Linda's family told me that in the early years, when women cooked up fish in big pots of oil, they would use a lot of cornmeal. The dogs would smell the inviting aroma and go crazy barking. The women would scoop up the fried cornmeal out of the pot and toss it at the dogs, yelling, "Hush, puppy! Hush, puppy!" Gabe didn't believe my story and didn't even crack a smile, but I thought it was a cute story anyways. We stayed for 10 days before flying back to Memphis. It was a wonderful experience, but it was always good to go back to Memphis and Graceland. That's where my heart was. I had scheduled to fly home to Rhode Island the next day to take care of a few things there. When we got to Graceland, however, Elvis had come home earlier than expected, and Lisa was with him. Several of us guys had already commandeered all the spare bedrooms, and I was left with the dilemma of not having anywhere to sleep that night. Dee was so sweet and said, "You can sleep at the house on Dolan with me and Vernon. That's no problem." So off to Dolan we went. It was an impressive home, much bigger than I expected. Dee had decorated it to her taste. See, she and Vernon had a pretty spacious bedroom on the first floor, fashionably done in yellow and white. It was the first time I'd ever seen a jacuzzi in a bedroom. The three of us spent the evening talking about all the fun we'd had in San Juan. When it was time to go to bed, Dee showed me a comfortable bedroom on the second floor. The double bed felt good as I drifted off to sleep, thinking how lucky I was to be in such wonderful company. The next morning, Dee showed off her cooking skills and fixed the two of them bacon and eggs, pancakes for me and for Vernon. After breakfast, Dee and I had a great time taking pictures around the house. Vernon then announced that he had to go to Graceland, and I watched as he walked out the back door and disappeared through the gate into the pasture that connects their property with Elvis's backyard. After packing and meeting with Linda, I remember her telling me, "We'll get together soon, I promise." So, thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for allowing me to read to you. Those of you that made it to the end, there's going to be a song or two here. If you want to listen to them, that's great. I mean, I do it, I really do it for y'all, because it always puts me in a positive mood when I listen to those songs that I wrote for Elvis, because they're positive songs about Elvis. And here we are reading some great, real true to life stories of Elvis and being in Graceland and being in the bedroom. And getting to picture a few of these, you know, the way things were. So, the beds. Got the left side and right side. It's just very cool. It kind of puts you in there. You know, the bathroom and the bedroom there, and you got Linda sitting on the bed there. We've all seen that picture. Well, at least I think we have. You know, just the red, you know. The Office. See, the Office in tropes. We talked about this in the reading it. Anyhow, promise you many more readings, many more books. I just got exhausted. Whew. I was just trying to read and living through it, and it kind of gave me energy to do it. But yep, I'm tired. Enjoy some of these few photos here while the songs play, and yeah, looking forward to reading your comments. As you've seen, the last couple of videos I've done have been comment videos, trying to feature your comments. So maybe make the next one, all right? This is Rarest Photos, TCB, TLC. Till next time.
Would the world still be painted black and white if that Technicolor voice had never sung? Would Pat Boone still be the hunk of burning love? Would the world have ever heard Ray Charles or James Brown if Elvis Presley's folks hadn't moved to Memphis town? We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Some people try to say he stole a sound. Elvis just sang from down within his soul. With just his voice he broke the great divide between all music that was black and white. B.B. King and Little Richard thanked him. Elvis took the racist world and changed them. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with the shake of his hips. Hips. This world would look like a different place if we never got to gaze on Elvis' face. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with the shake of his hips. Yes, Elvis did that with the shake of his hips. Yeah, yeah. Plant a blue suede dream tonight and feel the rhythm come alive. My heart beats to every Elvis song. On my turntable I turn on. Hound dog echoes in my veins. Jailhouse rocking through the years. We're all the part of him that red remains as we wipe away our tears. We say thank you to the mailman. Say our grace and our amens. Live our life in God we trust. Yeah, Elvis is alive in all of us. Feel the tremor in the night. Guitar strings start to hum. And the stars up there so big and bright as Elvis starts to strum. We say thank you to the mailman. Say our grace and our amens. Live our life in God we trust. Yeah, Elvis is alive in all of us. Just a blue moon in the sky. Can't help falling but don't wonder why. Elvis' spirit never dies in our soul. For all our lives we say thank you to the mailman. Say our grace and our amens. Live our life in God we trust. Yeah, Elvis is alive in all of us. Yeah, Elvis is alive in all of us. There's one king above all, a light that never fades, a name that we call in every prayer we say. Through every storm we face, he stands tall and true, lifts us up with his grace, and shows what love can do. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every eye closed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. In the darkest of the nights, when hope seems all but lost, his light it shines so bright because he took up the cross. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. In the darkest of the nights, when hope seems all but lost, his light it shines so bright because he took up the cross. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. He gave his life for us so that we all may live. Only one king, that's Jesus. Only one king that guides and frees us. Every head bowed and every hand raised. There's only one king, that's Jesus. Set Elvis up on stage. He shot up like a firework in 1954 when everything on records and TV was a bore. Locks of hair falling down over his sullen eyes. It's twisting in and out and didn't even realize he was every daddy's nightmare and every daughter's dream. Those mothers didn't know they should have those girls to scream. Right along beside them as all the cameras flashed. Without Elvis there's no Orbison, Jerry Lee or Cash. He was straight out of Tupelo on the Memphis Flash. institution tried to ban him. Cops lined up at shows. They said, shake it one more time, son. We'll see how your headline goes. But Elvis, he just stood there, wiggling his one finger. They still screamed and rushed the stage for their favorite singer. He was every daddy's nightmare and every daughter's dream. Those mothers didn't know they should have those girls to scream. Right along beside them as all the cameras flashed. Without Elvis, there's no Orbison, Jerry Lee, or Cash. He was straight out of Tupelo, Memphis Flash. Institution tried to ban him. Cops lined up at shows. They shake it one more time, son. We'll see how your story goes. But Elvis, he just stood there, wiggling his one finger. They still screamed and rushed the stage for their favorite rockin' singer. He was every daddy's nightmare and every daughter's dream. Those mothers didn't know they should have their nose screen. Right along beside them as all the cameras flashed. Without Elvis, there'd be no Jerry Lee or Johnny Cash. He was straight out of Tupelo, Memphis Flash. He still makes them cry and smile to this very day. There will never be another Elvis. Mark the words here that I say. He was every daddy's nightmare and every daughter's dream. Those mothers didn't know they should have those girls to scream. Right along beside them as all the cameras flashed. Without Elvis, there's no Orbison, Jerry Lee, or Cash. He was straight out of Tupelo, Memphis Flash. He was straight out of Tupelo, Elvis, the Memphis Flash.
Well, if you made it to the very end, my goodness, super Elvis fan. Here's your MITTE, Super Elvis.